Welcome back to the channel. This is going Let me start paying myself every time I say those. This is going to be a quick, hopefully, overview of the tools and such, you could say, that I'll be using for the Bulldog and for the Bearcat. Just want to do a quick overview of the basic tools that I'm going to be using. Again, as the intro video said, the idea is to not use anything that's over $20. And I'm really trying to stick to that. On the desk in front of me, you have the tools that I'm going to use to build the Bulldog. This is going to be for painting, obviously, not building. You have sanders, sprue cutters, a knife, glue, or cement. Probably the most expensive tool on here, besides the airbrush, which is $20 airbrush, is the sprue cutters, which you can find. They're the Tamiya 123 sprue cutters. Very good sprue cutters. I like them a lot. Like the main sprue cutters I use now. But you can use almost anything as sprue cutters. I mean, it's ridiculous. But you can find these anywhere between $20 and $30 on Amazon all the time. A standard cheap scalpel handle with a number 11 Swan Morton blade, or you can use something like an XL or an X-Acto knife. Again, cheap to get. The blades, those scalpel blades are a little bit sharper. Not a lot, a little bit. They are quite a bit sharper, a little bit thinner, a little bit more fragile, but very good. As far as sanders go, I have right now just in front of me two ranges, parts of two ranges. The Ultimate Modeling Product sanders and the Infini sanders. The Infini sanders are very spongy and very good for round things like the barrel. The Ultimate Modeling Products is their 400, 800 sander. Very thin, not as much give to them, are better for keeping things flat. If you are extremely worried about keeping something flat and you need to sand it, you can use a small file and that will keep it flat, and the finish you get from a file is actually pretty good. So again, these will be used for taking parts off the sprue. These will be used for cleaning up some of the sprue tabs. These will be used to sand up any seams or to finish sanding seams. As far as cement goes, three types that I have. These are both Tamiya extra thin cement. This one is their quick setting, which does set quite a bit faster than their regular extra thin. And then MEK, which is methyl ethyl ketone. That's a very strong solvent. It's one of the main ingredients for some solvents like the Plasti-Weld or plastic weld. And the good thing about MEK is it will glue styrene, ABS, acrylic, lots of different things together that will do that. It's also one of the main ingredients for PVC glue for pipe fitting. The Tamiya extra thin cement will not glue ABS. Even despite this being 50% acetone, this will not glue ABS very well at all. Extra thin, same thing. So I generally just use MEK. Now MEK is also a cheaper alternative. Obviously I have it in an old Tamiya bottle. But you buy MEK from hardware stores and you can get it in a quart or larger quantities. This is just the stuff I got here in town. In most places in the US at least, you can get this stuff pretty easily. The one exception that I know of is California. Lots of places in California you can't get this because it's California and this is a chemical, I guess. I really don't know. But I've heard or have a lot of people that have told me or have talked to that can't get this in California anymore. And I don't know if California has restricted its import or just stores stopped carrying it. And as you can, it says on here, powerful thinning and cleaning up solvent. And it's really used as a cleaner, but it will melt styrene and does a very good job of it. And it sets strong, sets fast, and it does a good job at melting styrene. So that's mainly what I use, partly because it's cheap and it's easy to get for me. As far as the airbrush goes, like I said, I'll be using this .0 branded airbrush. It is a Chinese clone. I also have a master I may use depending on what paint I'm going to spray. This is a .2 millimeter nozzle, which isn't that important for what we're talking about right now. It will be important depending on the type of paint you're going to spray. The only thing I don't like about this is the color cup is rather small. Now, I'm not using a $20 airbrush because that's all I have. That's certainly not the case. And anyone who is familiar with me and airbrushes knows that I have a lot. I don't want to say exactly how many because I don't know exactly how many. I don't remember. I stopped counting at 20. If that sounds good or bad, I don't know. But I also have a master brand airbrush. It's a .3, which the larger needle opening will allow larger pigmented paint and larger amounts of paint to come out at once. Now, I may use that for priming, but for the actual painting, since I will be using more than likely either Tamiya paint or Mission Models acrylic, the .2, the .0 will be plenty adequate. And in terms of $20 airbrushes, this is actually really good. I don't say value necessarily, but a good deal, 20 bucks. It wouldn't be a good deal at more than that, but it's a decent airbrush. One thing you do have to be careful of: the needle seal, the needle bearing, whatever you want to call it, is normal rubber, not Teflon. So it is not solvent proof, so do not soak this in lacquer thinner because it will ruin that O-ring. But I still use lacquer thinner to clean it out, and I'm sort of doing an experiment of how long a $20 airbrush lasts when you shoot lacquer paints and clean up with lacquer thinner. So that's a basic overview of the tools I'm going to use in terms of paint. I already said either Tamiya or Mission Models, probably Tamiya if I have it the right color, which I believe I should, just olive drab. I think I have some olive drab. I should have checked before I started this, shouldn't I? That's always the problem. Always, top tip, always check to make sure you have the right paint for your build before you start. I never do that. As for primer goes, we will be priming this in Badger Stynylrez, and that is one exception I will make to this airbrush. Badger Stynylrez does need a larger opening than that to spray well. You're going to spray good. No, it was a big again. I need to stop that. I will either use the master of the .3 and warm up the Stynylrez. That's actually a good trick. Warm up the Stynylrez and sprays a lot better. I'll either warm it up and shoot it through a .3 of the master, or I will use my Omni 4000 or Badger Patriot 105 to put down the Stynylrez. But I'm going to try and stick to, again, $20 tools or less. So, again, just a quick rundown of the tools, and if you're going to build along, good tools to get. Now, there are a lot of different sanding stick options. I'll just mention that quickly before we close. You have these pieces of garbage from Squadron. If this is all you can find, they will do the job. They don't last very long at all, but I don't really like them, as you can tell by me saying that they are garbage. But Squadron makes some. Stevens International has these ones. These are actually pretty nice. I kind of like these. Oh, wow, another big A lot of hobby stores have these rebranded with their name on them. You also have the Flory sanders. That's a buffer. The Flory sanders, which I don't like either. I think they're too aggressive for what they are, and he doesn't tell you what these are. This is the green. This is the green one. This is the fine. But he doesn't tell you what the fine is. The blue one's the coarse, or the blue one's the medium. Yes, they are two-sided. I do know that. So if Flory or one of his minions is going to watch this, I know they're two-sided. I still think both sides are too coarse. Lots of sanding stick options. I do think the Ultimate Modeling products do make the better. I don't really want to say the best, but they do make the better sanding sticks for what modelers use. So, quick overview again of the tools. I know I've tried to close this video out like 4 times now. So quick overview of the tools we're going to use, or I'm going to use. The Royal We. Not that I'm royal, just that that's what the... Anyway, these are what I'm going to use. Let me get this garbage out of the way. These are what I'm going to use. Ooh, my arm. These... I'm trying to have fun with these, and it can get frustrating for me trying to have fun and trying to be somewhat... There's a hair there. Trying to be serious and have fun at the same time, even though this isn't really serious. So, I don't know if that's going to come through on the video. She's going to watch it and go, man, this guy's an idiot. But that may be your response anyway. But, again, quick overview of the tools. If you want to build along or follow along or use this as a reference later on in your modeling, here you go. So, and another thing I should say, besides the cheap airbrush, besides the cheap $20 airbrush, these are the tools I use for every model. Okay, so if I'm building an old Tamiya Walker Bulldog, if I'm going to build a AMK MiG-31, I'm not going to say they're F-14 because that's never coming out. If I'm going to build, you know, an expensive, you know, $100 kit, I'm still going to use these tools because they're good tools. Just because they're cheap doesn't mean that they're not good. Again, the one exception, I don't use a $20 airbrush most of the time. I have better airbrushes. So, again, trying to close out this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this will be helpful as we go along. Again, I go along and build these things. You won't have to be asking, well, what cement are you using? What sprue cutters are you using? What sander is that? What knife is that? Watch the video and you'll find out. I got jazz hands. So, thanks for watching. Hope you guys are going to enjoy this. I hope I enjoy it again. I think I've said that before. So, thanks for watching. I'm going to shut up now. Double thumbs up.